Hey guys, what's up? ArcliteTank here, and I am bringing you a PVZ on Lost Temple. Yes, this is Lost Temple. I second guessed myself there, but I do know the players. It is between vmouz.Morrow and ROOTKiWiKaKi. So ROOTKiWiKaKi is, I believe, a member of the Root clan. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but I'm not going to stop casting this. ROOTKiWiKaKi, a great player, one of the top Protoss out there. He's a very entertaining player. There's been a lot of people casting his games lately, so hopefully this will be very entertaining. It got a great review on Ghost2Gamers, high points there, so that's always good. You always want to see that when you're downloading a replay. And Morrow here. I've already commentated, I think, 2 or 3 of his games. I'm not sure if I uploaded them all, but I've commentated a few of his games. He's a very entertaining Zerg and a very good Zerg. I love watching his games. And something to point out about the map already, which we're seeing here that will probably affect the strategy, is this Overlord is going to try and come in here, and he's going to try and get a little look at ROOTKiWiKaKi's Nexus, and then pull back out before ROOTKiWiKaKi can see him back, pretty much. And, you know, sometimes we'll see a player send a probe out here just to scout the Overlord as it's coming in, which it looks like ROOTKiWiKaKi's not going to do that. And let's take a look at Morrow's view. Morrow is going to see that Nexus, and it looks like he's just going to continue pushing in. A lot of times you'll see the players just pull the Overlord out and try and get it out there so that the other player cannot actually see that they've scouted them already. But this will definitely be affecting both players because it is a fairly short rush distance. You know, it's not like cross positions where you've got to go across a whole map to get units there. So that is good for both players if they know how to use it. So we should be seeing maybe a little bit more of a quick game here. Let me shrink that bar there. Sorry, I forgot about that. But we should be seeing a little bit more quickness rather than a long drawn-out game possibly. And it looks like ROOTKiWiKaKi already with the scout inside Morrow's base, and he is going to find nothing. It looks like he's going to see the gas going down, which will indicate normally speedlings, and that is on 13 supply, even though the extra drone did just pop up there and make it 14. That was on 13 supply, so a little bit earlier than normal. Looks like he is going to try and take advantage of the rush distance a little bit and try and get that out quickly. And look, there is the spawning pool. So very good there. And it looks like there's also no scout coming from Morrow's base except for this Overlord, which he did get good vision. So, you know, I really don't see a reason for a drone scout, except for this guy moves around a little bit slow. And from ROOTKiWiKaKi, what we're seeing is awesome placement on the pylon. This allows him to build a couple buildings here, and then he can bring in an additional one right where my mouse is in the back to totally wall that off if he's in some kind of huge crisis. So that's also pretty good. And he's also keeping a probe here to try and block the expansion of Morrow. Morrow's going to see that with his Overlord, and you know, not really much he can do about it. But looks like ROOTKiWiKaKi's gateway is going to be finishing just slightly ahead of the spawning pool, and we normally see that because the spawning pool can produce quite a few Zerglings a lot quicker if you're trying to do a rush. So, you know, it's all timed very well, and we're also going to see a cybernetic score. And just leaving a little space there. He'll probably have a Zealot sitting there waiting to block any Zerglings from coming into his base. Using this Chrono Boost on his Nexus, a lot of times we see players wait to put that onto the Cybernetic Score to get Warp Gates quickly, or wait to put it on a Gateway to get a Nexus or a Zealot, which he's just building the Zealot straight up, not going to go for any Chrono Boost tomfoolery, and it looks like it just finished. So he's definitely trying to get a little bit more macro heavy, trying to get the money. He's trying to get him some cheese, and it looks like we're going to see ROOTKiWiKaKi heading out now with a probe. Looks like he's probably going to put down a Nexus as he has already scouted the space. Now, maybe later, who knows, or maybe just a pylon actually. Sorry I said that. Normally we see him put a pylon about right here so that he can see the creep spread come off of the hatchery. Sometimes you want to get in that position, or just a position where you can spawn units outside of your base if you get contained. Which watching the cant channel, those are guys in Master League, and a lot of times what we see is the Protoss will just have a pylon by, you know, like the edge of his base or outside of his base, and, you know, you'll see like a Terran pull off a massive contain, and in Brood War there'd be absolutely no way out of that, but then the Protoss is just dropping units everywhere and going right around the Terran. So contains are really a thing of the past in PV anything, pretty much. It looks like we're going to see Morrow pulling the Overlord out, probably just in time as the Stalker's just about halfway done. And it looks like he's going to mess with the gateway a little bit. Definitely not going to be able to blow it up, and definitely not going to draw this Zealot out of position. So just a little annoyance there, and he did put down a hatchery. So it looks like we're going to see a little bit more of a macro-heavy game than I expected with such a short rush distance. But, you know, that definitely factors in a little bit later. And it looks like he's got a spawning pool researching the metabolic boost, which very good play there, pulling the drones off just in time to get just 100 gas and get them back on minerals. So, you know, those little minute timing changes they do work out to give you a little bit of a speed boost. And it looks like he's getting another queen, which is always very good because, you know, you can use that queen for creep tumors as he's doing. You can use it for your expansion, or you can just use it to help fight off Void Rays. I've seen that a lot, and it is very effective against Void Rays. It's just to have a couple queens against that really early Void Ray. Especially if you do not scout very well. And it looks like we're going to see a lot of red lines. Somebody is just moving his guys all over the place. And looks like these Zerglings are going to be trying to scout pretty much stuff. Looks like they're looking for that pylon, but they're not going to head down to this corner and see the probe, which probe has not laid down the pylon yet. And we do see a Nexus going down right now for KiWiKaKi. So it looks like he's also going to try and keep up with the economy rather than making some crazy all-in push, which he does not have the army for. And looks like there's our second and third gates. So 3 gate is normally common. Normally we'll see like a 4th gate or a robo facility, or maybe even a Stargate soon, which he is going for the gas. So either it's going to be very heavy stalker, or we should see that robo or Stargate pretty soon there. It looks like the Nexus is just about half done, and the pylon outside of his front, which will be used to warp in units, very useful there, is going to be done just now. And it looks like this Zergling is going to head in for scouting. It was a pretty good idea to keep that Zergling up in the front there, because now he can scout. He can see what's coming out of KiWiKaKi's base, and he's also got this Overlord in great position, because the most important information you can probably get when scouting is just your enemy's unit composition, because then you know how to counter it, you know what you've got to build to beat them, and a lot of times when you can get those counters out, that's how you end up winning a game. And it looks like there is a 3rd queen and a lair now. So lair tech is something that is awesome. He'll be able to do a lot more with that. Roach Warren going down now, and Roach Warren, it works very well with lair tech because you can upgrade speed, or you can get those tunneling claws, which against observers, which Protoss are normally very good at, especially on this label. You'll see probably a lot of observers as soon as the robo facility goes down. But observers can scout the burrow roaches, so maybe not that, even though they're pretty good for micro. But roach speed is definitely something we'll see from the lair, maybe even some muta, because there is not a very heavy consistency or composure of anti-air units. They're pretty good with these stalkers, but that's not going to be enough to move around and defend a base. And he's bringing in more stalkers, so maybe a little bit better, and a ton of probes being transferred. Normally we see just a few. It looks like that's going to be 16 probes heading down the ramp, and it looks like they're going to start mining this expansion very quickly. And taking a look at income, income is normally very awesome to see in the beginning. Probably a bad time for me to pick that, because the income did just drop for KiWiKaKi when he transferred all those probes, but that should be coming up, and they should be just about even pretty soon. KiWiKaKi maybe just a little bit behind, because he is 2 harvesters behind Morrow. So it looks like KiWiKaKi is going to make an early game push, and this could be very devastating. He is pushing out with a few stalkers, and he does have sentries, so the sentries will be very good for microing against units, especially with just a few amount of Zerglings. And it looks like 2 Spine Crows coming in, but that's probably not going to be enough. Spine Crows very good against sentries, because they are not really affected by that micro type of force field play. And it looks like we're going to see a push in by KiWiKaKi now. A few roaches producing for Morrow. It looks like the Spine Crows are going to finish just in time. They're going to be able to push back the units just a little bit with those Queen's units, trying to pick off the Zerglings, and it looks like they're going to move forward, getting sniped again by those Spine Crawlers, and it looks like the Stalker is not going to take any damage through shields. None of them are. Shields pretty weak on 1 or 2 of them, and Roach is finally reaching the front. Roaches will be able to help quite a bit against these units, even though Stalkers are very good against Roaches. I like to point that out, because a lot of the times we see PvZ Zergs going pretty heavy Roaches, which they need upgrades to function very well, and it looks like we do see those on the way, because if you look at Roaches, they are armored and biological, and if you look at Stalkers, they get a massive damage bonus against armored. So, you know, that can definitely help the Protoss player later, and especially in the early game. And it looks like we're going to see a Robo facility and a Stargate. So that can work out very good, especially this is patch 1.2, so we do have new improved Phoenixes, and the Phoenixes aren't actually improved, but the timing, you can get them out a lot quicker, because the produced time of a Phoenix is lower, so you can build them quicker in quicker intervals. So that's awesome. You know, he can definitely use that to his advantage to get a lot of them out, snipe a lot of Overlords, and, you know, just cause a lot of supply block damage, which is very annoying for a Zerg. And, you know, even worse than picking off Overlords, he can come in here and lift a Queen and snipe her out of the air. So it looks like we're going to see Roach Warren upgrading Burrowing Claw, or Glial Reconstruction, which is the speed for roaches. And it looks like he does have a small amount of roaches relatively on the field. And both players are upgrading their ground weapons, which it looks like Morrow is upgrading ground ranged, and we do see ground weapons in general upgrading for the Protoss player. And let's take a look at this. We're also seeing a Void Ray be brought in, and that could be very bad for Morrow because Morrow really has no anti-air. He does have Hydras and a Spire on the way, so it may actually work for his advantage a little bit later, even though his army composition is very bad against Void Rays at the moment. We should be seeing it getting a very, very good buff against them very soon. So those Void Rays are not going to be a problem. Stargate may very well have been a waste unless we see like late game carriers and motherships and chaos. But it looks like there's an observer coming out of the robo facility now, which that's normally the first thing you see a Protoss produce. And both players are trying to take their high yield mineral expansions, which is normally the third when you see this type of positioning. And it looks like the Zerg is definitely going to be way ahead because his hatchery is about 1/3 done before his enemy has even halfway killed the rocks. So he's definitely ahead in that. He'll have a little bit better economy. Let's take a look at income, and we do see higher harvesters by far for ROOTKiWiKaKi, and that is allowing him to bring in about 200 more minerals per minute. That is an awesome advantage, which it looks like he may actually pan out to be a pretty much overall a better position. You know, because he will be able to transfer a lot more workers down here, and there will not be as much stress on his economy during that type of transfer period. And it looks like this hatchery is just about halfway done. Actually, it's 2/3. It just looks close to half. And we do see Hydra's range upgrading. So Hydralisk range is awesome. You definitely need it if you're getting Hydralisk because they do have a really short range in the beginning, and you know that really hurts them with micro, especially against air units, which can fire and get away quickly. But when you have that range, they're really a lot better at countering air. And we're also seeing a Spire. So Spire and Hydra, unless you have good gas income, you normally don't want to mix those. We do see a Void Ray pushing up, and there is nothing really here to fight the Void Ray except for the Queen, which one Queen normally is not enough to kill a Void Ray if you can charge it up quickly. And it looks like Zerglings are going to push forward just to kill that probe. So that was definitely a good trade there. One Zergling for a probe. You know, a probe does cost twice as much as a Zergling technically, because Zerglings come 2 to an egg for the same price. And it looks like he's got a small force here just kind of sitting at that watchtower. And what I'm interested to see is what ROOTKiWiKaKi. Oh, wow. Remember how I said this Stargate was a waste unless there's going to be motherships? Well, look at this Nexus. It is producing a chrono-boosted mothership, and we're seeing more gates coming in, and a Twilight Council. So we're going to see a combination of mothership and gateway units. Wow, I haven't seen this type of play since beta. Motherships have been, you know, really rare to see on the pro level because they're not as powerful as they were really sold. It looks like Morrow is losing some creep tumors, which that is a pain in the ass as a Zerg player. Morrow's going to push forward on this force, and the force is retreating off the creep. So Morrow definitely wanted to engage on the creep. He gets speed bonuses. When the roaches burrow, they get heal bonuses. And it's just so much better for Zerg to engage on the creep. A lot better than StarCraft 1, where it was just for buildings. Definitely very important to spread the creep. And, you know, he's still got a lot of it here, and he can move this creep tumor either way. You know, probably moving it forward or just putting a queen up to the front to build a new one. It looks like he is suiciding in an Overseer, and the Overseer is probably going to be shot down by all these Stalkers, which are warping in very slow, and he is going to get a pretty good look at this base. I'm not sure if he saw that mothership producing out of the Nexus, which is almost completed. So what we really have to ask ourselves now is, what do we see from Morrow to counter this? And it looks like it's just Hydralisk, which if a good Vortex was placed, you could suck in some of those Hydralisks and, you know, a force field around it maybe, and then take out the rest of the force while they can't really attack air and the units are cloaked. So we should be seeing Overseers from Morrow to kind of counter that. He definitely needs them to see those units on the ground, because while it's really good to be able to take out the mothership, you want all these roaches and all these Zerglings to be engaging those ground units, because they cannot, of course, fire on the mothership. And it looks like this probe is also paying off for KiwiKaKi because he's watching very carefully right here. And, you know, even if he didn't see that drone come in, lay down the hatchery, he should very well see the drone transfer when more drones do flow down there. And it looks like drones just getting to the high yield now, getting ready to start bringing in minerals for Morrow. And let's take a look at income, see if it has, it looks like it has even out. It is a lot higher for Morrow at the moment because he has just completed his drone transfer, while KiwiKaKi still has to do that, and the workers are about even. Looks like a couple of Zerglings just suiciding in, not going to see that Mothership. Mothership just barely getting out of way in time to avoid that scout, and Mothership is going to be out of position really for this attack, but it looks like he's just using it to cloak his base there, and a lot of Zerglings here will be very good against these Stalkers if they can get this around, and also Hydras are good against Stalkers. Looks like these Zerglings are moving forward, just a small fraction of them. KiwiKaKi needs to do a full stop and just pick off a couple of them. There he is with that stop. It looks like we're going to see Morrow retreating back into his base. He does have a couple corruptors now, maybe to counter the Mothership, maybe to counter an anticipated Colossus, which is what we would normally see against this army composition. Looks like Zerglings are moving forward. Good force fields there, cutting off the range units, and it looks like there's going to be a pretty good surround by Morrow around KiwiKaKi's forces, and it looks like the blink out pretty much saved KiwiKaKi there. If he did not have that blink, he would have lost a lot of units. It looks like a few units are still going to be picked off. It looks like the sentries are going to go down. Sentries are very good for the micro, and you definitely do not want to be engaging a really heavy army that is very strong like this one without sentries able to give you that micro advantage as Protoss, which it very much does give you a very large micro advantage, which you can definitely use those to retreat or even to improve your odds during battle by separating units and, you know, pushing Zerglings away even. Looks like we're going to see a pylon right here for KiwiKaKi, and this is very bad for Morrow because he has not scouted these. He's got one right here ready to warp units right onto his natural, and it looks like I'm going to have to talking about that because there is going to be a big battle here. A few Zerglings moving forward, and it looks like the Roaches are also moving forward. Mothership coming up. Nothing to scout the Mothership. It looks like he does have Corruptors and Hydras to kill it, but he's not going to be able to see the units under it. Stalker's blinking out from under the Mothership, and it looks like a Corruptor is going to be picked off there. Corruptors and Hydras and Roaches all pulling back. Looks like a lot of the Zerglings have been killed, and we should be seeing an Overseer from him very soon. He definitely needs it to combat this force. Take a look at production, and he is bringing in one Overseer. We should be seeing it coming up to the front very soon, which KiwiKaKi could have done a little bit of damage with that push. He is very sentry heavy, which sentry is not the greatest against Hydras, you know, but they are very good against Roaches, like I said earlier. So it looks like he's going to take his own Zelganaga Watchtower. And right now, at this moment, we're seeing Morrow hold his own, going for a more Korean-style macro game, which if he can just pretty much hold these forces and just build like crazy, build all these bases that he's got coming, he can have a full 2-base advantage against his opponent, which will definitely give him a massive amount of income bonus. And it looks like he's also researching Air Weapons 1 and Ground Ranged 2. So we will have 2 ground ranged weapons, and KiwiKaKi on the other hand is researching 2 ground and he does already have 1 ground armor, and complemented by none in the air. So it looks like he is going to move forward. He's probably going to blink up onto this ledge here. He's going to at least pick off a few Overlords, probably going to do a lot of damage to drones. It looks like he's going to use the Void Ray and the Observer to scout, and he's just going to blink right up there, and it looks like he's blinking the units up slowly, a micro blink, very good there, so that he didn't leave half his force on the ground like we see a lot, and it looks like the Corruptors are going to move forward, not really going to be able to do anything. A few Stalkers left out there just to deal with them probably, and it looks like he's going to move forward. He's going to try and pick off the lair, maybe pick off the Hydra Den or the Spire, and it looks like he's going to do a ton of damage to the lair. You definitely don't want to lose this lair because this is a producing and income base. So it looks like he is, however, going to lose it, very unfortunately for Morrow, taking a loss on the lair. He's not going to be able to recover the Hydra Den or the Spire if KiwiKaKi does take those out, which it looks like he's moving forward. He's trying to pick out the Spire at the moment, which Spire is very good to take down, especially if he's got Colossus lined up, which he does currently not have. It looks like there's a lot of Corruptors here to counter just a single Void Ray, and it looks like he's not very well set up to counter all of these sentries, and it looks like they've just been recalled out of the base. Perfect there, and this is also complemented by a few Zealots being warped in at Morrow's 4th base, I guess you could say, which now is his 3rd because his main has been destroyed, and it looks like we're going to see a lot of drones probably dying, but he's just going straight for the hatchery. Looks like he's just going to try and take that out to do an immediate economic damage just to get rid of that, get that off of the playing field. Which, KiwiKaKi, I'm really surprised by his build because he is going heavy gateway units. He does have quite a few gateways here, 2 of them not even warp gated yet. but he does have quite a few gateway units. He's not going for any type of Colossus, which the Roach does a pretty good job of countering that. Along with these Corruptors, he did manage to take out the Spire, I believe. Yes, there is no Spire and there is no Lair, which a Lair is morphing not very close to done. Definitely delayed by those Zealots that moved forward and attacked it. So I did like to play with the Mothership. A lot of the times we don't see the Mothership being used very well or at all, but the recall is definitely very valuable because that allows you to pretty much launch all of your units into your opponent's base, do as much as damage as you can, and then within like what is it, mass recall, it doesn't have a time, but I believe it's like 2 or 3 seconds, just recall them completely out of the base, taking very minimal losses. That can be a complete new style of just harassment there. The Mothership is probably going to be very valuable if this play is recognized and we see more pro players using it. We should see it a lot more, though, because it is pretty much very successful so far the way he's using it. And it looks like he is chrono boosting an empty forge, probably just wanted to finish that upgrade, which he does have 2 ground weapons and 1 ground armor now, so I believe he does have the ground upgrade advantage. Yes, he does, leading his opponent by 1 armor upgrade. And it looks like 2 sentries moving forward. Sentries are going to get picked off. He does have a few under the Mothership, though. Units moving forward, trying to take out the Mothership, and it looks like a lot of the Stalkers are going to have to move forward, and units just going right at the heart of the force. Looks like the Stalkers are going to move forward, trying to pick off Corruptors and Hydras, trying to preserve the Mothership, chasing the units away from the Mothership. Vortex going down, calling in all of those Corruptors. That is very bad, because now as Morrow retreats, his Corruptors are going to be left there, and all ROOTKiWiKaKi really has to do is move the Mothership away, and then watch these Stalkers absolutely wreck those Corruptors, because they cannot fire at ground. And it looks like he's backing off just a little bit. This Vortex should be ending quickly, and we should be seeing all those units completely just pop out of it. And it looks like the Zerg player, Morrow, is going to move forward a little bit. Maybe going to suck his units into it with them. No, he's just going to kind of sit around the top of it. And all the Corruptors are going to come back, and he is going to be able to save them. Just a few Stalkers coming out there, and it looks like he did pick the Stalkers off. Mothership in the back now. It is very damaged. It's not doing too good. Corruptors moving forward, trying to take out the Mothership. They're not going to really find anything. Lots of Overlords there just to absorb damage. I'm not really sure the point of that. Probably just for damage, and you know, he doesn't really have to be worried about supply blocking, because a lot of times you see a lot of them, and it looks like the Corruptors are moving on the Mothership now. Mothership out of shields, Mothership out of life, and there goes the Mothership going down. It looks like a lot of Corruptors lost it. Corruptors trying to escape now, and it looks like 4 of them, 3 of them actually, are actually going to escape with their lives. So they did take out that Mothership. Very valuable there. Maybe not a valuable trade per se, because those Corruptors are very expensive. I'm not sure the exact price, but he does have 100 minerals, or 150 minerals, 100 gas to produce a Corruptor, so they are pretty expensive, especially when your Spire's been killed and you cannot make any more. So he definitely needs a counter for that Mothership, you know, to be built. He does not have a Spire. He's not currently producing a Spire, and he does have Hydralisks, but that's not too good against the Mothership. You know, you definitely need Overseers if you're just going to try and pick off the units under it. The Mothership itself is not that powerful with attack comparatively, and it looks like we're going to see lots of units moving forward. Roaches out front. Roaches are going to take a ton of damage from these Stalkers, and the Hydras are just doing a lot of damage to Stalkers once they get up there. I'm not sure why we aren't seeing a blink. There we go. Good micro there, blinking the units in the back half up, and it looks like he's just blinking damage units back. Awesome micro there. Corruptors are moving forward. You definitely don't want that to happen. Corruptors are going to be able to be picked off fairly easily here, and it looks like a lot of Hydras moving in with the upgrade disadvantage. You do not want to do that when you are outnumbered. But Hydra's very good against Stalkers. It looks like he's going to at least do a ton of damage to this force. Definitely not going to be GG for either player here, but it is going to be a lot of damage. Maybe Morrow could lose off this if we do see a very extensive push from ROOTKiWiKaKi. And it looks like Morrow's coming around the other flank now, going to be doing a lot of damage to these already damaged Stalkers. Taking a look at life bars, you know, a few Stalkers are in good condition. It looks like they're going to be able to just completely power through what is left of these Hydras, because there are such small numbers of them compared to Stalkers, and it looks like those Hydras are definitely going to go down. And the Observer just kind of taking a look. He's going to see nothing more coming, but Hydras are dead. ROOTKiWiKaKi does have a slight advantage here. Not necessarily enough Stalkers to win with, but he is supplementing it. Maybe a small push to do a little bit of damage here. Looks like those Spine Crawlers are just going to be a big pain right there. We see this a lot with Zerg players moving these forward, and it is very effective because it is effectively buying Morrow some time in this game. So it looks like Morrow is going to lose both of those. And he does have a few units supplementing the front, a few Hydras, and lots of Roaches. So Roach is a pretty good choice if they're upgraded, but they're not. And those Stalkers are just going to be able to do a ton of damage against them. Roaches pushing forward now, backed up by Hydras. More units moving in, but you definitely don't want to attack piecemeal like that. You want to have all your units attacking at once in big groups to fight the enemy. And it looks like we're seeing Corruptors not even corrupting these units, these Stalkers. And it looks like we're just going to see Morrow feeding more and more units into it, but also KiWiKaKi bringing more units up from the back. Not currently, but he just did, I believe. And it looks like we're going to see another loss for Morrow here. Morrow moving his Roaches forward a little bit. Looks like they're just going to take a lot of damage from the Stalkers. Stalkers moving back. I'm not sure why they're not blinking. Maybe blinking forward would be a good idea because you can get all those guns onto the enemy units. And it looks like he is losing a lot of Stalkers, even though he's probably going to win this battle through doing just so much damage to these Hydras. But he does have the upgrade advantage and the numbers advantage. Maybe not so the unit composition advantage, I'd say. And we do actually see an upgrade being researched for Morrow, which is the ground melee and the ground armor. So ground melee is very good if you're going to be dependent on Zerglings, which we definitely need to see a lot more Zerglings. Zerglings, I like to call them the humble Zergling because they are just so basic and they can completely destroy so many things. They can completely destroy Stalkers if they get a good surround. They can completely destroy Immortals. You know, Immortals, the big hulking unit with that massive shield, just gets picked apart by the little Zerglings, but it can take out siege tanks like nothing. This is just very cool that those units are just so awesome. And it looks like we're seeing a lot of Overlords moving out for some reason now. Maybe they are going to the Overlord mass exodus, going to Overlord Mecha. I have no clue what they're doing, but we do also see an expansion for KiWiKaKi at the 6 o'clock, and at the other, I guess you could say, this is the true 6 o'clock. This is like the 5:30 right here. So it looks like we're seeing KiWiKaKi move forward. He does have another massive Stalker force, but we do see Morrow producing a Hive Tech and producing Infestors, so Infestors would be awesome against this, because right when your opponent thinks he's going to blink back, you can just, bam, no you're not. And it looks like there's a lot of Stalkers are going to be scouted, especially with this Mothership support. They're just going to be extremely powerful against this force, which has no observer and very little anti-air that will be able to get to the back to fight the Mothership. And it looks like we're probably going to see a withdrawal from Morrow. We should see the withdrawal because these units are just so outnumbered. And, you know, with the Mothership cover, that's just really bad. You know, Mothership did take a little bit of damage, but not enough. Stalkers blinking forward. You're going to be able to pick off Corruptor. Only one Corruptor left with very little health. So, not really worth it there. And it looks like we're going to see an Overlord heading in. Not even an Overseer to corrupt. And I'm not sure why we're not seeing an Overseer. It looks like we're going to see a push from KiWiKaKi with simultaneous units spawning in at the bottom here. Going to be able to do some damage to this base. Probably going to be able to take out that Spine Crawler and the Queen. It looks like there aren't enough Zealots there. It looks like we're seeing Zerglings chase the Stalkers back to the Mothership, but really with no effect, which I'm surprised he doesn't have the Mothership scout up here and blink up here and then just fly away and do another mass recall, you know, or something like that. But it looks like he is actually going to try and go for GG with this one. It looks like there is an Overseer. Finally, Overseer going to be able to see those units under the Mothership, and if KiWiKaKi targets that Overseer, he will be able to force his opponent back, but it looks like he's not going to do that. Zergling is just doing a ton of terrible damage on these Stalkers, just pushing the lines back, and it looks like combined with the Hydras, that's just such an awesome unit composure against this Stalker army. They're just going to completely push it back. Mothership going down. Now the cloak is gone. KiWiKaKi's definitely taking a massive disadvantage in this battle. And it looks like there's an Infestor. Not enough. It looks like he actually did get off that fungal growth, and he did lock a few of them down, forcing the refs to hang back just a little bit longer. And it looks like we should be seeing KiWiKaKi probably blinking out of this battle, trying to back to home base, which it looks like there's actually some creep spawn inside of his home base. And just Zerglings chasing him, doing a lot of damage on the tail of those Stalkers. And it looks like there's another fungal growth going to isolate 4 Stalkers, and KiWiKaKi is just going to cut his losses and pull away from that. So good decision there. Definitely didn't want to stick in that for just 4 Stalkers. And he does have so many gateways, he can just completely produce a ton of units. And it looks like we're going to see Zealots, another one of those humble units. And Zealots are just awesome. Does he have Zealot legs? No, he doesn't. So Zealots are not completely awesome, but they are good. And, you know, because he is Protoss, they are covered under the same insurance plan. I mean, the same upgrades as his stalkers are, and it looks like we're seeing a lot of creep sped on top of this base, preventing cannons from being spawned, or anything really defensive that he might have wanted to drop in there. And it looks like KiWiKaKi, even though his attack failed epically by being destroyed by Hydralisk, it looks like this attack did an awesome job just being completely fungal growth there, and it looks like these zealots are going to meet their end inside of this base that they destroyed. So good job, honorable death, bye bye zealots. And it looks like KiWiKaKi taking advantage of those units out of position. It looks like he's going to push forward with these stalkers, thinking there were a lot more units out of position than there actually were. It looks like he's at a pretty big disadvantage here. He's got to get those zealots to the front to fight those zerglings. Bad idea to blink forward. And it looks like the zealots are going to move up, but not in time. Zergling is attacking from the completely wrong angle for KiWiKaKi. KiWiKaKi doing a great job of getting flanked here, which you never want to do a great job of getting flanked. It looks like lots of zealots doing a pretty good job against the Zerglings, but not when they're retreating. Zealots being left behind, just taking damage, becoming Zerg cannon fodder completely there. Looks like he's just going to do a full stop on them and kill a lot of Zerglings, because that is what zealots are made for. And this small amount of stalkers is going to be able to escape. So let's take a look at income, and maybe we can kind of decode why this is happening. Both players are about even, but I definitely give the advantage to Morrow at this point. It seems like he's definitely doing a good job in unit composure. And as far as strategy, what I really am kind of like, is actually Colossus, which he did just get. He needed Colossus a lot earlier when he had that massive army with the mothership and everything. Imagine how awesome Colossus would have been under that, just completely destroying all those Zerglings and Hydras. And if I were him, maybe with such good income, even go for a second Robo Bay, which it looks like Robo Facility, not Robo Bay. Robotics Bay is the thing that allows him to make the Colossus, which he did make 2 of those for some reason, probably just frenzy to get Colossus. But we do see him making Colossus, chrono boosting, and it looks like he is building another robo facility, so that was definitely needed. And this Overlord here just, for some reason, able to just spread creep like crazy, and KiWiKaKi not able to do anything about it. Maybe just bring in a single stalker and do damage. I don't know, but it looks like we're going to see Morrow moving forward with this massive army of Overlords, just going to try and creep everything. Too lazy to spread creep to him, might as well just throw the Overlords on the front lines. And this Overlord inside of KiWiKaKi's base, just scouting around, just taking a look, and he's going to see a ton of gateways. There is currently, what is this, 16 minus 3, 13 gateways. So that is quite a bit of being able to spawn in 13 units at once. That's more than a complete StarCraft Brood War control group. You guys remember that? How annoying that was, putting 12 unit control groups just to move forward. I love this, how I can select all these millions of units, which I have actually maxed out the control group with Zerglings. That's fun. Which it looks like we're seeing a single stalker, just like I said. I am so good at this game. Single stalker there just to take out that Overlord and push it out of his base. Good job there. It looks like he's also going to take out the one that has been roaming around his base, just completely looking around, being a peeping Overlord there. And that did successfully drop the supply of Morrow, which normally you'll see Zerg players with just so many that you can kill a couple of them, and they just can kind of like blow it off, like, I've still got 200 supply. But it did not successfully supply block him, because he is not near to 200 supply yet, and he is already back up to it. Overlord's just so easy to produce, because they build very quickly. And it looks like we're going to see 2 Colossus on the field, a 3rd one on the way, and Mothership now. So this Mothership had just been a massive pain in the butt for Morrow, and we do not see a Spire for Morrow, so it looks like this may actually be the victory push for KiWiKaKi, even though there is a pretty good amount of Hydras here. He does not have any Corruptors, which Corruptors is what he really needs to take out this Mothership and the Colossus, which are just both massive units. And the Colossus combined with the Mothership is just going to be able to do so much damage, especially with 3 Colossus on the front, that's just going to be able to absolutely chop through Hydras. And a lot of new people probably don't know that. That didn't make sense to me at first when I was new to the game either. Why do these guys chop through Hydra? Because they're awesome, and they just do it. It's actually mostly because Hydra is not like Roach, where they have that massive armor and that massive health where they can just sit there and just take it, and they've just got such thick armor, it's just like whatever. But now we do see Ultralisk. How did I not see the Ultra Den? I need to put that production tab on. 3 Ultras on the front, 2 more completing, and the Chitinous plating just about done. So that is amazing. That is exactly what Morrow needs to beat Colossus and Stalker Army. not Zealots, but Colossus Stalker just falls to these Ultralisks because they do so much splash damage, and they've got such awesome armor that they can just take the damage like crazy. But he does still have no Corruptors, and it looks like he does have a Spire producing, and Corruptors should be done momentarily once he gets that Spire up. What this is really contingent on is if Morrow can get Overseers up here to see these units, and if Morrow can get a Corruptor out maybe to do some extra damage against the Colossus and against the Mothership. And it's really going to be micro based. What really happens with micro is going to do it, but it looks like Morrow moving into KiWiKaKi's base, he's going to just drop a ton of units, doing a lot of damage here. This is enough units to do a little bit of damage to the main force, while KiWiKaKi is fighting inside of his base. We're going to see Morrow moving forward to the first Ultralisk arriving at the Xel'Naga Watchtower, along with a ton of Hydras. There's going to be quite a few units inside the base, but you know, the negative effect of this is it definitely did cut Morrow's army in half. He's going to lose a few Overlords probably. It looks like he's actually going to have perfect time pulling them out. And as far as upgrades, they are actually even for ground. And it looks like there's going to be also a lot more units coming into the bottom expansion of KiWiKaKi. So even if Morrow does not win with this, he'll be able to do such a massive amount of damage against the economy of KiWiKaKi, and it looks like there is a vortex there, and we should be seeing Morrow move all of his units into it, which is pretty much standard protocol if you don't want your force split, which it looks like he's not going to do that. He's just going to take the damage from the Colossus, and Colossus are good against Ultralisk if there are just so many of them and the Ultras cannot get on top of them, which it looks like Mothership going down now, so those Ultras will be able to do damage. I'm not sure why he didn't just dive them into this this vortex, and it looks like we're also going to see KiWiKaKi moving in because he does know that he has such advantage, and maybe not a good idea to move in with the Ultralisk, but it looks like he's just going to be able to pick all these units off of that massive amount of Colossus in the back. Look how many he has. He's got 6 of them. Those units are just able to do so much damage to Zerg units when they are in such tight formation. And let's take a look at units. And you know what really happened there was Morrow just got really cocky, thought he had an awesome advantage, and he just started dropping units everywhere, not really considering that he split his army in half. And KiWiKaKi just went, oh, you can take one base out, and I'll just move from unit group to unit group and destroy your units and go for your main, probably. Which he is moving forward. He did kill his own Stalker. It was probably, I don't know, probably just a Stalker that the other Stalkers did not like, whatever. And it looks like we're going to see Corruptors. Corruptors are very good for this unit composition, but look at all that damage coming off of these Colossus. They're just powerhousing through everything. You know, I don't think he even really needs the Stalkers, and it looks like there go all those units, and that's GG for Morrow. Morrow losing to just awesome Protoss production. And Morrow GGing out. He's not going to be in Hydra and tell him to apologize for playing that race or anything. But if you guys wanted to know about Koth, what I was talking about earlier, it stands for King of the Hill, and it is a channel that people join on StarCraft, which they did add the channels. You just type Koth and join channel, and a lot of the times on Thursday, Friday, weekend nights, I might be in there casting games. So, you know, I do that live because it is a lot easier. Like this game I'm casting right now, I have to go out and save my audio files, save my video files, and encode them and put them all together and then upload them, and that just takes so much time. Live casting it is so much easier, even though I can't stream. But thank you guys for watching.